Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Kelly Mesher-Collins with the Diocese of Des Moines. Next week, it's Catholic Schools Week, and in anticipation, we're visiting with Jennifer Simmons today, who's principal of St. Malachy Catholic School in Creston. But before we get to today's interview, let's find out what's on the Bishop's mind.
I'm a big fan of Jennifer Simmons, so I'm looking forward to this interview, Kelly. So here we are in the flurry of January, no pun intended, and there's so much going on even, it doesn't, with Christmas season abating, but a lot of marvelous things for us to celebrate as people of faith and citizens of our country, the great witness and the March for Life, the 49th March for Life last week. And I was privileged to join our Des Moines group of young people and others from around the state, Sioux City Diocese and some Iowa State University students. We celebrate Mass at St. Matthew Cathedral on Thursday, the day before, thanks to Monsignor Jameson and his great hospitality. But, it was a frosty environment, not so much because of the ambient temperature, but, we know that the forces of choice and anti-life were present, manifested in a rather curious way. Even the March for Life breakfast that Democrats for Life had scheduled at the Busboys and Poets, a restaurant that's kind of a local chain in the greater D.C. area, they were disinvited and broken their contract because they just didn't feel comfortable that they were creating a safe space only for those who were pro-choice. And so the irony of all of this, that those who are most trying to create a sanctuary and a space where all people are welcome and that their dignity and rights are respected, so they refunded the deposit. So, that they stand firmly in the belief that women have the right to make their own reproductive health decisions, including terminating the lives of young girls. So, I think this is something very troublesome, and the irony that on a week when we also celebrated Martin Luther King Day, that kind of creating a separate dining facility for those who are only in line with their ideology and everything else. And so, that the Dred Scott decision, separate but equal, and yet here we are, life and not in any way analogous, I think, to what was several years ago the Supreme Court and the Masterpiece Cake decision, the cake maker who was not comfortable making a cake for a same-sex couple, welcomed that couple to come into his store, to his shop, anything they wanted. So it wasn't an exclusionary thing, but it was just that he wasn't going to be asked to go against his conscience. So I think the folks at Busboys and Poets, who also have a local outlet near the Catholic University of America campus, it's so hard, but that the kind of withdrawal into a kind of enclave of like-minded people. But on a positive note, a great week. We concluded the week for Christian unity. We had the Sunday of the Word of God last Sunday, and then just a week of great saints. Obviously, the week of Christian unity always concludes on the Feast of the Conversion of St. Paul on Tuesday, but we started with Francis de Sales, Timothy and Titus, and of course today, St. Thomas Aquinas, the angelic doctor, dear to many of our hearts. So we look at Francis de Sales. He was so humble, he wouldn't mind taking a back seat to some of the other apostolic saints and that, but I think in light of trying to be apostles of life, trying to continue to witness to our faith, to the real basis of all equality, that we're all children of God, regardless of race, regardless of our location in the womb or otherwise. And so St. Francis de Sales' marvelous words, which I think help us to take heart. Go forth to do the work for which God has elected you. He will be your right hand so that no difficulty shall move you. He will hold you by his hand so that you may walk in his path. So be of great courage, and may your courage endure. And the way to get it is to keep on asking him, who alone can give it to you. He will give it to you if you follow the leading of his grace with a simple heart. Go forth calmly and sweetly in peace to serve God and Our Lady, where you have been summoned by their will. Live calmly and simply in God, always loving your own abjection and being courageous in the service of him who died on the cross to save you. And so this great doctor of the church, this one who said, whatever we find us, whatever our particular state in life, holiness awaits us, that we live our lives oriented to God in friendship with him, drawing from the grace that he so abundantly provides to us. And, those little mini moments that we have of retreat during the day when we encounter the Word of God. I was privileged early in the month to take that more extended retreat with our Regents bishops. But each day that there's some moment where we are alone with God and ready for whatever it is he places in our path.
We're going to take a quick break, and in return, we'll talk about Catholic Schools Week with Jennifer Simmons. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
This is a Young Catholic Minute. Why should I have Catholic friends? You ever notice that in scary movies, if a character's going to die, he somehow gets split off from the group? I think there's a reason Christ sent his apostles out 2 by 2 on their missions. We need Catholic friends to be a constant living reminder that Christ has called us to life, that our joy may be complete. Life and joy. Who doesn't want those? The problem is that while non-Catholic friends might want them, they don't understand that Christ is where life and joy come from. So they go looking to the culture and fall for counterfeits that promise life, but give us death. And if that surrounds us, we'll be alone and confused, even in the midst of friends. So what's a Catholic to do? Go make some good Catholic friends, and together bring Christ to our culture. Everybody's waiting for him. For more, go to youtube.com/youngcatholic.
Welcome back. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Next week is Catholic Schools Week. And in anticipation, we're visiting with Jennifer Simmons, principal of St. Malachy Catholic School in Creston, to find out what they have planned and what they've been up to.
Still basking in these marvelous studios here at Iowa Catholic Radio in West Des Moines, so the comfortable home that's there. But I was able to bask in the environment of St. Malachy School in Creston right before Christmas. I tell you, the young people were bouncing off the walls with the marvelous spirit, and of course, under the leadership of Jennifer Simmons, with whom I have great respect. Good morning, Jennifer. Thanks for coming on with us. Yeah.
Thank you.
In the midst of another action-packed day for you. So, here we are at the end of January. Principal of St. Malachy in Creston, or administrator. I mean, those terms are used interchangeably, I think, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, yeah. And you've been in this role for how long?
This is my 7th school year here at St. Malachy.
Time goes quickly. And you'd come from St. Joseph's in East Des Moines, right? Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I was there for 14 years.
Wow, so you're a veteran with lots of experience and everything else. We've come to interact, and, you're among the many things you do to lift up your community and lift up the diocesan family, is you agreed to be on the Strategic Visioning Steering Committee, and so we thank you for that commitment as well, which the planning phase is very much on. You bring a great perspective, and, we kind of chuckle a little bit as we all introduced ourselves. You described yourself and your parents, and, how they kind of, like maybe most parents do, like, how did this child come to be who she was? Okay, you just describe that on this, making it personal here.
Yeah, my parents have been a little surprised by all my past, but very, very proud all at the same time.
Am I right to say that you kind of described them as hippies of a certain era?
Yes, without shame. Very proud hippies, actually.
Okay. Tie-dye lives, right?
Yes, for sure. And long hair.
And long hair, marvelous. So would they pass your dress code? Do you have a dress code at St. Malachy for hair or not? Is that...
No, it's pretty loose for hair, which was an adjustment for me coming from Des Moines, where that's a pretty tight dress code rule. No, we have colored hair, long hair. It's different, and it's okay. It actually works, and it doesn't become an issue, so we make it work.
Yeah, I don't remember being struck by anybody thinking, wow.
No.
Mohawks, mohawks.
Yeah. I dyed my hair brown, so I thought the school colors wouldn't work. So. And not Catholic, right? So your journey to become Catholic at a certain point. Can you just share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So wasn't raised with any specific religion, and so that just allowed me to explore. My parents gave me that right to just try different things out, and I tried, different religion in college, kind of explored, and then, but was always curious. I'd always been surrounded by Catholics my whole life in retrospect, and I think that was all in preparation. And then when I made it to the Catholic school in Des Moines, befriended a wonderful person, Tom Dassinger, and he really, really opened me up to the Catholic faith. And when I had my daughter, Haley, not too long after she was born, I told my husband, I said, I think I'm going to convert and be Catholic. And I think that kind of took him back for a little bit. But he was supportive, and so we decided to, I was converted, and we decided to raise Haley Catholic. And then, lo and behold, we moved to Creston, and my husband decides he's going to become Catholic, too. So we all came to it on our own regard, which is, I think, a cool way to come about a religion.
Indeed, kind of that organic way, it's kind of by witness and invitation, but not coercion in any way. And, so at a certain point, you said you tried many things. You did inhale the Holy Spirit then. Okay.
Absolutely.
And ate the brownies.
Yeah, ate the brownies. Yeah, there were brownies, I noticed, when I was there in the teacher's lounge. So, and moving right along. No, but, and maybe, that your own life experience, because the environment at St. Malachy, not everyone is Catholic in the school, right? I mean, and correct. So that's kind of a distinctive feature there, maybe a little more accented than it would be at some of our schools.
Yes, we are 51% non-Catholic, and it's about the same for our staff as well. And being non-Catholic for a time myself, we embrace that. And, we do have people almost every year that decide they want to convert, which is exciting for us. But definitely not a forced event by any means. But our families that are here, they're here because they want the children to be closer to God. And we are able to provide that, but they also know they're going to participate in all the Catholic activities, and nobody has an issue with it. And my non-Catholic parents are just as excited to see their child up there reading for Mass as they are their Catholic children. So it's an exciting environment where everybody can be different but yet embrace the same. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And again, no pushback on that. And again, the witnesses there. I remember as I was kind of engaging the young people during my homily, there was a young woman, probably, I don't know, she first or second grade, who was really responding, very intensely. And then I was told afterwards that she's thinking about becoming Catholic. Was that right? Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, so that sense of wonder and that kind of boldness, that a child will lead us, in so many ways. So beautiful.
And it's a lot of times that our kid brings the family along, which is a really neat event.
Yeah,
when the family
some things are perennial, aren't they? I mean, that yes. dynamic, but evermore, I think that's part of where we want to be, and part of where we want to be with our strategic visioning, and how can we continue to do that? Form families, allow the parents to embrace their faith in a more mature way, and to be able to witness and communicate that faith to their children, who do it such a marvelous job in their own way. You mentioned that. I think the high level of academics as well. I mean, the Creston public schools, they do a nice job, but I think there's also an attraction on that level too, the academic as well as the spiritual. You have a very veteran staff. In fact, I was struck, I think proportionally much more than others. Can you just talk why the draw and why the longevity?
It's a very dedicated staff, and yes, 20 plus years is the average. Mrs. Levine's been here for 44 years, and she's telling me she's going to keep going. So I hope she does, because I'm going to be sad when she leaves. But there's just, a lot of our teachers went here themselves, which is amazing that they want to come back and be a part of it for that much longer in their life. It's a good place when they want to return. But
they've been off to the Regent schools or other places to get their education degrees and other things. Yeah,
and they left and they returned. And, many of my teachers, this was their first and only school. They've not experienced school anywhere else, but they don't have that grass is greener desire to go see what it's like other places. They're just content and happy here. And that is such a gift. And their dedication, with everything that's gone on these past couple of years, the Great Resignation, all that, my teachers are not threatening to walk out on me. And I'm so thankful for that. But I know I have to do my job to make sure they continue to feel that support and, that welcoming feeling of, and why they still want to be here. And we're always talking about what's your why? Why do you want to be here? And they are full in. And I love that about them so much.
And we talked about how, the openness to families who may not be Catholic. It's not a kind of insular ghetto, really, or the teachers, there's kind of the closed-knit thing that this is their school and the only place they've been. I sense a great openness, a great kind of respect, and a sense of wonder and curiosity that really is cultivated, part of the culture there. And also, a familiarity with technology. Just to stick for a moment with the relationship you have with the teachers, how, personally, your sense of vocation and faith formation, what are ways that that's strengthened? You talk about the why, and I think sometimes we lose sight of that amidst all the challenges with protocols and things like that.
A lot of times we revisit. Many of our teachers in this building, and myself included, have been through some pretty, I don't want to say tragic events, but very high trauma events, and the support that they've received from each other through those times is just astounding to me. And I can give an example. my husband was diagnosed with cancer, and the support that we received from our staff was just amazing. And my parents were blown away by that. They're in Kansas City. They don't have that tight-knit family experience with just people you work with. That's just not something they had experienced before, and they just couldn't believe. And it resonates throughout the building. And sadly, I hate to say, but most of our teachers have been through something pretty trying. And this family just holds it all together. And so we remind each other of those stories often to continue and to keep going and how we keep surviving. And we do that through the support of one another.
That's so inspiring, that we accompany each other. Sometimes it's on the way to Jerusalem. Jesus is with us, in the whole mystery of his life and his death and the yoke that he wants to lighten for us. But that's up to us to lighten each other's yoke and to bear that with each other. We can't take away some of these things, these crises or these crosses that people bear, but we can be with, and that's, I think, what God calls us to be. And so what a grace that you afford each other, and that's a marvelous thing. Maybe shifting gears here, not too abruptly, but, you're pretty sophisticated group of young people in terms of their use of technology and some cutting-edge stuff going on there. I mean, I'm kind of thinking, wow, at the cathedral, we could use some of these people, as a great team. But just talk about that. Yeah,
so it probably helps that I'm a super tech nerd, and I love technology, and I love getting the new stuff and trying it out. And we have a parishioner who is much like that, and Father Adam also is too. And so we started, recording the masses, beginning of COVID. And, of course, Steve's talent really rose above in his ability to film and stream. And he filmed our confirmation. So, parents and grandparents could enjoy that because it was April 2020, but we were going to complete confirmation. And, again, my parents said, wow, that was amazing. It was like, really good television with, captions at the bottom and graphics and everything. And I told him, I said, it'd be great if, you had kids that could learn how to do that here. And that was the seed that started this whole journey. And so Steve's like, he was all in, excuse to buy more fun equipment and, play with all the new technology. And in that, we created this Film for Faith team of students along with Steve's help. And they stream the Mass every week with 6 cameras in our gym. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's awesome.
It's kind of like walking into a studio, except the students are so used to it. It's not a distraction for them at all. No, and they don't notice. And the young people are so professional. They're as unobtrusive as possible.
Mm-hmm. So. Yes, and they have class every Tuesday, and they learn about filming techniques, and they do mini projects. This week, they're making commercials for Catholic Schools Week that we're going to run on our Facebook and YouTube and stuff. And, our students are becoming quite talented. There was a week where Steve couldn't come in. He was sick. He couldn't move. And the kids were able to set the whole system up and get it running. That's amazing. I mean, these are 13 and 14-year-old students. So I have one student who does extra time with Steve, and he's learning how to edit and, create film, edit film, produce it. I mean, this kid, I'm going to say I knew him when he heads to Hollywood. So it's been really cool to add this, and they do such a nice job that the high school actually invited them to come over and film the high school musical last year and this year. So that's
and just to be clear, this is the public high school that invited.
This is the public high school, yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help that I might be on the musical board or anything like that, but still.
How many boards and committees are you on? In addition to the church, don't answer that. Don't answer that. Don't answer
all different ones.
Yeah, and we should give Steve all props here. I mean, Steve's last name is
Heffern.
Yeah.
Steve Heffern. Yes.
Yeah.
And man, this wouldn't be happening without it. That's all I can say. He is the driving force behind it with equipment and his knowledge, and the kids just eat it up. And I'm so lucky to be able to offer that to our students here.
Yeah, and truth in advertising, I was trying to recruit the young man about you're speaking with the very burgeoning talent to go to Loras College in the Media Studies program with Craig Schaefer there. So we'll see how that plays out. But wherever he lands, he's going to be marvelous. And Steve, we're the same age, but he's retired, so to speak. So this has become kind of his avocation in a way. So when we ask, can anything good come from West Waterloo High School? Steve is doing marvelous work and went to Iowa State as well. So Clear Touch TVs, what are those? So to this digital immigrant here?
Yes. So we had projectors in our classrooms, the smart boards of the 2000s, and they were great, but they were dying, and we needed something new, and I didn't want to deal with projectors for another 10 years. So I started researching and found these Clear Touch TVs, and so we were able to get them with our Eanes COVID funding. And they finally arrived in November, and I'll tell you, it changed my teachers' lives. And, of course, you put a new piece of technology in their classroom, and they're overwhelmed. So I really knew I had to come at this a different way. And so some of my teachers, more of that digital native, they jumped right in, were trying things out because they knew they couldn't break them. At least that's what I tell them. And some of my more veteran teachers were a little bit more apprehensive, but we had PD the 1st of January, and we spent time in each other's classrooms showing each other what we learned.
Professional development for our listening audience here.
Yeah, so we had PD, professional development, where our teachers were teaching each other, and that was exciting. And then we brought in a professional to teach us how to use them. But we had them in our buildings for a good 4 weeks before we got training on how to use them, and our teachers learned quite a bit on their own. And it just makes teaching with a chalkboard a little bit more exciting.
Well, and we're winding down this segment here, so maybe we'll come back afterwards. But, what is it? Because there's still the lifetime engagement, and the technology doesn't become, the stumbling block to human engagement at the same time.
Correct, yes. We still spend a lot of time doing old-fashioned things as well, like,
Well, let's hear a little more about that after the break. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahans strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahans, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by Knights of Columbus agent Mike Borman with the Borman Agency, offering life insurance, annuities, long-term care, and disability insurance. The Knights of Columbus is a fraternal benefit society able to provide financial security to members and their families. Learn how Knights of Columbus agent Mike Borman can help. 563-689-6801. Knights of Columbus agent Mike Borman, 563-689-6801. Thank you to the Borman Agency for supporting Iowa Catholic Radio.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. We are back with Jennifer Simmons, principal of St. Malachy Catholic School in Creston.
Again, thank you, Jennifer, for staying with us. I know you have to teach some math classes here shortly, so among the many things you've taken on this year. So, but kind of fascinated that you're not just a theorist, the technology and everything else, but how not just for the pre-engineering or pre-media studies people, but other aspects of our the souls of our young people are being stretched and expanded in the artistic realm as well.
Yes, I am a huge fan of the arts as well. Big music person myself, and I never got to do much with art because I was always in music, but yet art was important to me. And I wanted to make sure we don't have a specific art teacher here, but I knew our students needed to experience art in a lot of different ways. And so we try and bring in people through grant money so that our kids are exposed to that, because I have a lot of artists in our building that need that, training, that exposure so that they can continue on with that at Creston High School when they get there if they've found some things that they enjoy doing. So one of the things that we do is we bring in resident artists, and we've done that the last 3 years. And
from Union County or beyond?
No, beyond, yeah. So we've had two artists come down from Boone twice. And then I led one art project through the help of the high school art teacher. And then we had Bubba Sorensen, who is the Freedom Rock painter. he came in and they painted a mural with our students of St. Malachy. So we have this beautiful mural of the St. Malachy in our gym now, which helps make our gym more of a church because that's one of our spaces that we use.
And I would comment on that. Both the windows and the walls, it does. I mean, it is a gymnasium, and it's a lunchroom, and it's other many things. But there is that dimension of the sacred, kind of opening up your soul. So, St. Malachy. I don't look like him very much, Kelly. I mean, he's got a big beard and everything else. I mean, I can dress like him, but that's about all that we've got so far. So, but there's other art scattered throughout. Some with explicitly religious themes, but others just kind of the creativity of the young people. What kind of pieces do you have at different points in this building?
When we got our art room, it was part of our new building that we put on in 2018. It was just a bland gray room, and so that was one of the projects that we did. Is that we brought in the art teacher from the Creston High School, and she designed a mural that I, not having as much painting experience as some, was able to lead the children filling in, kind of a paint by number. And it is of a cross with a rainbow of color going around it. And so our little preschoolers all the way up to our 8th graders filled that in, and it is gorgeous. I look at it, I'm pretty proud because that's not one of my skill sets, but I really enjoy doing that with the kids.
Hey, you allowed yourself to be stretched there. So marvelous. Yeah, good. Well, about a minute and a half left, and just next week is Catholic Schools Week. What kind of things are going on in St. Malachy?
Lots and lots of things. We're making cards we decided this year with everything going on with COVID, we really needed to recognize our local police, EMT, medical specialists, nurses. So that's where our cards are going to go this year. We're going to rent out our rec facility, which used to be a YMCA. It gives you an idea what kind of space that is. It has a pool and track and large gym. We're going to rent that out and take it over for a day and have our kids experience a lot of different fun outdoor activities indoors because it's so cold outside. And we're kind of crossing our fingers on this one. You never know with COVID, but we're hoping to have a really large, fun Grandparents' Day Mass on Friday. And that's how we wrap up the week, and spending it with grandparents. And that's where we recognize our teachers and their years of service and how long that they've been there. So it's always kind of an emotional mass, but a fun one to be together. So, we hope the surge has subsided enough that people are comfortable to be part of that, but that bond of generations. And the bond that I saw between the different classes, I know, the public schools sometimes pair that up, but that's also, I think, a great feature of that respect and bringing out the best from the upper grade students, that they can give witness. And, we know they can be intimidating if they want it, but instead they're kind of befriending them. So, Jennifer, thank you and blessings upon you and your mission at St. Malachy. It's just it's a great linchpin for the diocese. Thank you so much.
This has been another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Thank you to our guests and all of our listeners on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.